Everyone to the Ed Collaborative. We are super excited to be here today. This is our first Ed Collaborative presentation, and so we're really hoping that we're able to present a few things on what we're doing that you find helpful and that you can bring to your school or your division or your classroom and really make for some meaningful experiences there. We're going to flip over to the presentation here just so you can walk through a couple logistics. On the bottom, you can see that we've been using the hashtag all morning, the TheEdCollabGathering. If you have questions for us, feel free to share those out on Twitter. We are also, though, using a Padlet link. We have the Padlet portrayed out behind us here in the room that we're in up on a screen so that we can see any questions that you might have. So while we're talking here at the introduction, please feel free to take that link, put it into your browser, click on it. We have all of the resources that we're talking through. We have our presentation there in case we lose you at any point. And it's a place for you to ask any questions. We can see those questions come in live. And so quick introductions of myself and Lori. I am Josh Nobilio. I'm the principal here at Crystal Lake South High School. I'm a little impartial, but a little bit partial, but I would say that we are just a fabulous, fabulous high school, one that I'm so proud to be a part of. I've been here now at the school for a little bit over a decade in a variety of different roles, and just really excited to share with you today what we have going on.
And my name is Lori Ratliff. I am the assistant principal here at Crystal Lake South High School, the same high school as Josh.
High school.
Same one. I know him. So.
Just for logistic reasons, just so you know, we are located just outside of the Chicagoland area, about an hour north. Just so you have kind of an idea of where we're at. We're a high school of about 1,500 students. And so just a little information about who we are. You do have our Twitter handles there. If you have questions for us afterwards, you can reach out to either one of us. We're going to share our email addresses at the end. And again, we will be available to dig into any of the questions that you have and be able to provide you a little bit more of a greater level of detail.
Yeah. You
want to take us into the title here?
You got it. So hopefully you're joining us today because something intrigued you about our presentation, but we thought we would use the title of our presentation to kind of walk you through what you're going to be experiencing and what you're going to be hearing today. So the first part of our title is We Are All Learners. And that's really important to us because we believe that everybody at a school has to be a learner. Obviously, our students are learners, but we want our teachers to be learners. And as administration, we want to be learners as well. And we want it to be a culture of learning. And so that's foundational to everything you're going to hear today. The second portion of our presentation is using an experiential model of professional learning. We are strategically using the term professional learning, not professional development, because professional development sometimes has a connotation of one and done, like you go, you learn, and that's it. But professional learning to us has the connotation that it's not done, that the journey of learning continues on. And so that's what we hope for our school. The experiential model you're going to hear a lot about. We believe in our staff experiencing professional learning. Not that it's done to them, but they're an active participant in constructing their own learning and applying it to their classroom. And then the last part of our title is modeling effective collaboration and inquiry. You'll hear us talk a lot about the importance of modeling, but collaboration and inquiry are the two recent skills we've been emphasizing in professional learning. And they are skills that we believe are absolutely crucial for students. So if you're just joining us, welcome. We're going to pop back up the Padlet link for you before we go into the rest of the slideshow. And please feel free to join us there to ask any questions you might have. It is right there. You can just open a new tab and enter anything you would need. But for now, though, we want to explain to you why we chose collaboration and inquiry. And to do that, we want to share with you a little bit of our definition of literacy. We know that the Ed Collaborative is a group dedicated to the importance of literacy. We love that. We think literacy is so important. I am a former English teacher, and so literacy is something that I've always been passionate about. But for our presentation, you need to broaden the typical definition of literacy. I know that most of us, when we think of literacy, we think of reading and writing. But if you go broader than that, you can define literacy as reading the world, not just reading the word. That's a definition on your screen right now that we think is so cool. The other definition is about literacy enabling an individual to engage fully in society. And we think that is an awesome definition as well. So collaboration and inquiry totally fit literacy when you expand that definition of literacy.
As we're talking about literacy and expanding that definition, one of the things that we are always trying to do is talk about that idea of college and career readiness. We know that all of our students at some point in their lifetime are going to be reaching that point where they're going to be pursuing a career. We know at Crystal Lake South, many of our students are going to be attending college. And we really feel like collaboration and inquiry are two skill sets that students are going to need to have to be successful beyond our walls. On the right-hand side, you see a few pictures there of collaboration and inquiry happening in our building. You see Socratic seminars in place. You see collaborative groupings. You see students really digging into that content and that material. We know that as students are pursuing careers, we know that as students and the world is shrinking a bit due to the use of technology, that students can access some of those surface level answers at a click of a button on Google. They can talk to their phone and ask Siri a question and get those answers. But as we are today collaborating around the world and having conversations around the world, our students are going to need to do that in the future. And that's going to be a key to their success. And so we are asking for students to use those skill sets here in the building and really defining what we do at Crystal Lake South High School. We've added a quote here, and this is a quote that we have used through our professional learning, one that expands on that idea of literacy. And if you look to that final sentence there at the bottom of the first paragraph, at the Toyota Motor Company, they are continually asking their employees when they are finding areas of concern to really dig into and ask the question why over and over again, up to 5 times, to really find out what is the root cause of an issue. And that's the same thing we want to happen here in our building. It's the same thing we want to happen with our professional learning. It's the same thing we want our teachers to be doing in the classroom with their students, because ultimately that understanding of the why at a deeper level, that inquiry at the root, is really what's going to help them be successful outside of Crystal Lake South.
The last part of our why is really just that we think inquiry and collaboration are absolutely foundational to good teaching. And we consulted a lot of research to help us understand that. And so it's nice to see that a lot of the research out there validates this. We like this quote a lot. We are an AVID school, so we believe in what they stand for. And the quote here is has a lot of the key components of our professional learning model and what we hope to see in classrooms. You'll see terms like inquiry, collaboration, increasingly complex levels of understanding, learning experiences. That's something we're going to talk a lot about, and making meaning for themselves. AVID defines this as rigor. We know that rigor is a little bit of a buzzword in education, but we really do want to challenge our students' thinking. We want to make sure that our students are always critical thinking, problem solving. And so this is the type of classroom experience that we dream of. So we really dreamed of a classroom that is vibrant with this broader definition of literacy. Classrooms full of collaboration, classrooms full of inquiry, classrooms where students are not just passive learners, they're not just passively receiving information, but they're active in their own learning. They're active in constructing their own knowledge. That was our dream. And we have so many excellent teachers here who are ready to be able to pull that off for us. But the real question was how? How can we achieve that? As administrators, we were thinking, hey, how do we get there? And so that became this vision of a new type of professional learning. And that's what we're going to talk to you about today.
So Lori mentioned to you a journey that we've taken. This is the first slide of our journey. We tried to capture that all in one location. And so that's what you're looking at here. It's where we started, where we ended. But really, as you look at that slide, any one of those rectangles really could be a presentation in and of itself. But for today, what you really need to know about our journey is that we recognized early on that we needed to make a change and that we needed to have a new structure for what professional learning would look like. As we move to the right and further along on our journey, we recognize that our culture, if we were going to have a new, structure, we also had to have a way to be able to build a culture that was going to fit that structure. And so we started to talk about this idea of vulnerability quite often. It's going to be a key portion to what we talk about later in our presentation today. But that culture piece really then drove what we were going to do in the next column, which is roll out curriculum and make sure that our curriculum was focused, make sure that it was vertically aligned, and make sure that it was addressing the key points of collaboration and inquiry that we wanted to have focused. As we finished year one of our journey, what we realized is that we need to assess our progress. We needed to understand where staff were in the process, where we were in the process, where we were taking students in the process, and ultimately we needed to create a vision for where we were going. And that's a kind of a quick summary of our year one of that journey.
So this is the vision that we got to. And what's so exciting to me about this vision is that we didn't start with it, it was constructed. So we believe in being active participants in learning, and our staff were active participants in constructing this vision. Every experience we had, we kind of put different pieces into place. We talked a lot about what is good teaching, what is active learning, and ultimately we wound up with this vision. We just want to point out a couple of key areas of it. You'll see those key areas in blue. Collective teacher efficacy is the first one. We've read Hattie's research. We know how powerful this is. And collective teacher efficacy is that whole idea that when we work together, we do have an impact on student learning. All students can learn, and that's so important to us here. The second portion is all about staff collaboration. In a high school, it can be so easy to work in silos. Science teachers working over here, math teachers working over there, but we don't want that. We want to collaborate. We want to be a